So this is on Twitter. It's just a video. This happened, I believe, this morning. A cruise ship crashed into a bridge. It's gonna change the landscape for rideshare drivers in that city. And so I am gonna give some advice to drivers in that city. Of course, I don't live there, so my advice is gonna be limited. But you can see it hits the bridge collapsed. Why are they going backwards, bro? They're just trying to make the video long enough. So it hits the bridge. Are they not showing it? Oh, there it is. And then it drops. So this is a good shot of it once the sun came up. And there were people on the bridge when it hit that bridge. So hopefully they're okay. Hopefully they're alive. Hopefully they made it out. And if they didn't, prayers for that family, man, for those family members. But you see the bridge collapsed. So here's an article that kind of describes what happened. Commuters directed away from Key Bridge after collapse touched down I-695 Southeast Corridor. You can see the ramp up to the bridge and then the bridge just in the water. Maryland commuters are being asked to avoid Interstate 695 Southeast Corridor at the Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge was struck by a cargo ship and collapsed early Tuesday, sending the bridge and cars into the Patapsco River. The Maryland Transportation Authority issued a traffic advisory asking motorists to use Interstate 95 and 895 as alternate travel routes. For drivers who are watching, keep that in mind. I-695's outer loop is closed at Maryland Route 10, which is exit 2, and the inner loop is closed at Maryland Route 157 Peninsula Expressway, which is exit 43. The authorities said shortly before 7 a.m. So here's a map kind of detailing the significance of it all. So I guess this was like, if you're in this area or just in this area and you routinely need to get across this bridge, your commute time is going to explode. Now, thankfully, and this is for the drivers who are there, right now, the students are on spring break from what I've read. So traffic will be less than normal, but use this time to learn better routing to get the job done. My assumption here is that because this bridge no longer exists, rides are going to be on average longer. And when you have longer rides on average, that means there are less drivers available to take the next ride as quickly as previously. So my assumption here is that because of this, there are going to be bonuses that pop up on the map more frequently. And it's very possible Uber and Lyft, they're looking at this area. They're probably going to start incentivizing drivers to drive more by putting out ride challenges and things like that in order to deal with this. Now, if you can figure out a way to capitalize on the bonuses that will pop up as a result of this without having to sit in crazy traffic that will also pop up as a result of this, you could make some great money. I would have to live here to have a better answer. So you need to take what I just said and bridge that gap. Terrible wordplay, but bridge that gap and figure out how to make money from this. And I know it sounds insensitive of me. People have died, probably have died in this bridge. It's an inconvenience. It's a travesty, but there is going to be some kind of opportunity to make money, and that opportunity won't last forever. They're going to have a solution for this in time. And the earlier you put the pedals to the metal, you get out there, you start learning the new flows of traffic and things of that nature, you can make money from this. So you just got to take advantage of it. It feels bad saying that, but that's the reality. That's the truth. That's what's happening. It says lanes headed to the Key Bridge were closed in both directions, and authorities were rerouting traffic after the 948-foot cargo ship struck a support column on the 1.6 steel bridge Tuesday morning. There has been no impact to local or commuter bus routes so far due to the collapse, according to Veronica, a spokesperson for the Maryland Department of Transportation Maryland Transit Administration. That's a mouthful. Though the agency listed more than 30 affected routes. 30 affected routes, that's a lot. On a running list of service alerts on its website. Let's see what that website looks like. Let's see if that's useful for you guys. Not really. Yeah, so it says the routes that are affected, but you'd have to be really in tune with what this means in your city. You'd have to be someone who's not just following GPS and actually knows your city very well. So you go check that out. I'm not going to read through it. Baltimore City schools are closed for spring break, so the impact of the school system is minimal, said city school spokesperson Sharon Christian. That doesn't mean next week, what you learned this week, only a percentage of it will be able to be applied to next week. But if you're able to scale the information you learn and the routes that you do, you'll be better off than someone who didn't. So go out there and start paying attention, start trying new things. Like strategies that might not have worked before might work now temporarily, now that this bridge is down. So you should take this week to try a bunch of new strategies and see what you can use to really maximize your income based off of this that's happening. Several hours after the collapse, emergency personnel were searching for upwards of 7 individuals and had detected vehicles in the water using sonar, according to Baltimore Fire Department Chief James Wallace. The Key Bridge opened in March. We don't need the history of the bridge. Appreciate that. The transportation authority said vehicles carrying hazardous materials are going to go. Well, okay. This doesn't. All right. I guess this might matter. The transportation authority said vehicles carrying hazardous materials, including propane, are barred from using the I-95 and I-895 tunnels through the harbor and should use the western section of I-695 around the tunnels instead. So let's look at this map real quick, see if we can make sense. So they're saying that, I feel sorry for truckers. Truckers are going to start going along this route because they can't use the tunnels that go here, right? So that's something you need to consider into your strategy. Even if you don't drive in inner city Baltimore, if you use this in your strategy, you're going to have to expect higher levels of traffic in these areas. Now, if you, I'm assuming that trucks were allowed to cross this bridge before and they're no longer allowed to do it now. So I don't know what that really means for here, the traffic that has to go through here, but you need to go and figure that out, right? If you're in Baltimore, you need to go and figure that out. You need to bridge that gap. I need to stop saying that. Stop saying that. I'm gonna keep saying it. Key Bridge collapse is sure to have a ripple effect on traffic well beyond Tuesday's commute. The bridge carried more than 1.4 million commercial and passenger vehicles in 2023, nearly 34,000 people a day, according to the EA report. The bridge built to ease congestion at the Harbor Tunnel made up 9% of the MDTA's toll revenue in fiscal 2023. I think that's it. I'll try to pay attention to what the rideshare drivers in Baltimore are saying, see if I can figure out some strategies that they're using and pass it along to you. But he who figures out the strategy first is gonna make a lot of money from this, if possible. It's also possible that this is gonna harm your potential income. It's gonna make it harder to make money. That is a reality that I don't expect, but the possibility exists. And in that case, you really should go into what I call emergency mode, pay the minimum on your debts, and start stacking up cash just until you see what really happens as a result of this. So I think that's very important. I just wanted to get that out of the way. All right, so this one, it's how to travel around the Francis. Do I need to go through this? I'll let this video play and we'll see what the news station over there is saying.
Of what happened when this vessel hit the Key Bridge. The weight that hit the Key Bridge, I just looked it up online. Empty, the ship weighs about 11,681 tons. A ton. Well, let's reference that map real quick there.
Go ahead. You're fine.
Well, you can see exactly where the collision with the Key Bridge basically took place almost dead center of the bridge. The damage to the bridge is not easily accessible from either the south or the north side. So that is going to be an issue. 695, a major road on the east coast of the United States, is seriously impacted. On the north side, basically from where Amazon has its facility now, you could almost say nautically Bear Creek, but figure Amazon all the way to the south side just before Curtis Creek, the Curtis Creek drawbridge. That road is shut down.
What kind of
some information didn't have before. Amazon workers are going to need a new route to get to work. So if you're regularly taking Amazon workers across that bridge, they still need to get to work, and they are going to start paying a lot of money to get to work, and it might not even be worth it. So there are going to be some disruptions in certain industries in that town that I didn't even think about until I saw that video. But you guys got it. It's your market. Do the work. The more legwork and preparation you're willing to do, the more money you're going to make from it. Promise you that. Hopefully. I hopefully promise.